All right, well, it looks like it's gonna rain a little bit, but I got the backside torn off. The strips on. The other side's torn off. Strips are totally on. Corner post on, bottom corner post. All I have to do is get a couple strips up across the top, but I think I want to bend the metal for the fascia first. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to measure out this small little box and cornice part of the fascia, and we're going to just cut one big rectangle. So I'm going to measure up to the top of the drip edge, and it looks like we're measuring at about 9 3/4. So I'm going to cut it down to 9 1/2. So when it slides up into the drip edge, it's going to be just falling in that 2-inch area. I'm also going to add, though, a little bit. I'm going to add the 3/4 of an inch that's necessary to take the bottom. So if I measure 9 1/2 plus the 3/4, that puts me at 10 1/4 that I'm going to cut one piece. Now that's just the width of the piece. The length of the piece is going to be 15 1/4 plus 3/4 is going to be 16 inches. So if I cut something at 16 by that 10 1/4, it'll be enough metal. And then I'll show you how to use the brake. Okay, so out of the big coil, I cut off about 18 inches instead of the 16. Just a couple extra inches for things like bending, whatever, snipping. And then I also cut it in half because I need two pieces, obviously. One for the left side of the gable, one for the right side of the gable. I'm going to show you how to lock it into the brake, bend the metal. Okay, so I made my marks, 3/4 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch on the metal. Now this is going to be the inside. So when I put it up there, I'm going to flip it because I'm going to also bend this side. This side I'm going to do with a hand brake, because it's very, very difficult to try to bend two corners with a brake. You can get it into a corner, but I have a very large hand brake that I'm going to use to grab and bend the metal that way. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put it in, and I'm going to lightly fasten it down. And I'm going to get right up on my 3/4 of an inch mark. I'm going to lock it down by pushing the back bar down and lift. And it's a 90-degree bend. Now if you put it a little bit over 90 degrees, that's a good thing. Release, pull it. Is when you actually get it into the wood, that gives it a nice tight fit. Now, just like the big brake, I can grab, I'm going to grab this inside. I cut with the tin snips just 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to make a really nice tight corner, grab this, bend it up. Okay. Now I'm going to overshoot this bend just so I can get at this piece of metal. I'm going to bend that up a little bit. I'm going to grab right at that 3/4 inch mark, 3/4 inch mark. Now you can lock this one down like I locked the big one down. It doesn't have a big bar, but it has a backside that I can lock in and bend with my hand. And same thing, kind of overshoot that bend just a little bit so you get a nice tight fit. So there's my 90-degree bend. I'm going to bend that little piece of metal back. Definitely wear gloves because this stuff does get sharp. Okay. And there's my bend. Now a lot of these edges are going to get covered up by any of the J-channel siding, other flashing, and so on. So now I'm going to slide that up there, and I'm going to mark where exactly my drip edge is coming down. This one I'm not going to bend. I'm going to keep that straight. I bent the other flashing over so it's resting behind, so it'll have a nice corner to protect or cover any of that wood edge. Okay, so now that I have my bend in there, that's going to fit right in that corner. I'm going to take a linear measurement first by just holding this up and cutting this even with the edge. I'm going to cut straight up, and that's going to end up even with my fascia. Now that it's even with the fascia, I'm going to mark about, so there was my 10.5 mark there. And remember, I dropped it about 1/4 inch just so it doesn't interfere with the top, the drip cap. I'm going to mark here and mark about the middle of where the drip cap goes. Right in this area. It doesn't have to be perfect because all this is going to be a cut edge into the drip edge. Cut that. That's going to slide right underneath that drip cap. Now I also need to cut this out. What I'm going to do, I'm going to just slice this straight. I'm going to bend that flat. When this fascia comes down, it's going to run right over the top. So I'm going to mark right at the bottom of the wood fascia. Right there's where I'm going to cut. You don't need to use the handbrake to bend that back. You can bend that back just with your fingers or your gloves. And I can slide it right underneath, slide it right into that corner. And although it doesn't look like it needs nails, it's going to need nails. So now the next piece is going to get bent. Come on down and go right over the top of that. And complete the other side. Now where I'm going to nail, I'm going to nail inside here and underneath there. And that'll hold it in place. Then I don't have exposed nails. The top, that's never going to slide out once you get some nails in these inconspicuous areas. That'll never slide out. So that drip cap will hold that in place. Okay, this is one of the last pieces that I have to bend up. Right now it's locked in. I measured it at 4 inches. And the way to separate the pieces from what you need, what you don't need. Take a straight blade, nice, easy score. Bring the metal up. Snap it off. Should be wearing my gloves. That is a broken piece of metal. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring the other piece that's also 4 inches forward, and I only need 3/4 on the back. It's always a good idea to have the larger piece bent up and the little piece in. So I'm going to start lightly locking it down, 3 1/4, 3 1/4, and I have 3/4 left behind. This is where my 90-degree bend. And just a little bit over to make sure it locks in tight. Lock it. There's my bend. I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. This will be our gable fascia.